If you want to know how to build a top-of-mind personal brand where you are recognized everywhere you go in your market and thus clients are coming to you on autopilot, this video is going to blow your mind. I'm bringing on a very good friend of mine, Nick Isgro from Maine, who is without question one of the most genuine realtors that I've ever met, and he has tripled his production by leveraging video content across multiple social media platforms. So today, what we're going to be doing is breaking down how he is leveraging YouTube and more specifically community tours and local business highlights. We are then going to be diving into Facebook and how he's leveraging native video content in order to tap into a completely different demographic of buyers and sellers that are coming to him, and then how he's pulling it all together to build a very genuine and authentic personal brand on Instagram in order to bring the full circle of social media platforms. And he has tripled his production over the last 12 months by leveraging very simple videos, and he's going to be sharing with you everything that he does in terms of the exact videos, what he includes in them, how he films them, and his entire content creation process so that you can do this for your business. As always, before we dive in and bring on Nick, I'm going to make sure to link all of Nick's platforms below so that you can check out and see firsthand exactly what he's doing. And I'm going to link his calendar below so that you can talk about partnering with him and get his direct support for free to help you scale your business this year. So without further ado, let's show you how to leverage video content to become a local celebrity within the next 12 months. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another incredible video where today I've got on a very special guest that I'm really excited to bring to you today because of the relatability of his story and what it's going to do to help you take your business to the next level. So I'm bringing on my good friend, Nick Isgro, who's a member of our group, and he's been able to 3x his business since partnering with us. And again, when we start to look at how he's done it, he's become almost like a local celebrity where people are now recognizing him through his authentic personal brand. And we're going to be getting into things like YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and how he was able to do that. So I'm really excited, Nick, because this is going to be one that I think a lot of people are going to resonate with. So let's first maybe give some context to people as to who you are, where you're from, and what kind of got you to this point.
Sure. Yeah, Mike, thanks so much. Super psyched to be here. I appreciate you having me on. So I live in Waterville, Maine. You're not familiar with it. You know, Maine is a rural state here in the United States. Where I live is a pretty small town. You know, it's actually a city, but it's only 16,000 people. So that gives you an idea of where some of the smaller surrounding towns have for population. And I started this journey a couple of years ago. I got into real estate right when COVID hit, actually. And I spent that first year just kind of dogging it out and trying to figure out what was going on, even though I was home kind of by myself. And as I got to the end of that first year, I really started to understand that I needed to break out somehow. I was kind of feeling like wallpaper at a traditional brokerage. And so I started looking into personal branding. How do I really break out? And that kind of Google search of personal branding and real estate led me to you actually online. I was at the time, it was still a lot of the purple realtor stuff going on, and ultimately led me to you and the Wolf Pack. And once we had that initial conversation, I felt super confident that I was going to be able to really dig in, learn, from you and everybody else in the group and break out. And, I think the part of what I've done is that, it's not like this overnight success. It's been this really natural, gradual build, but it's been success after success. And that's been a really enjoyable process and one that I think I've just personally grown through a lot.
Yeah, I think that's super cool. And it's good that you touch on that because a lot of people, especially as we start to dive into some of these platforms, are expecting that overnight success. They start and then, magically clients are going to be starting to, blow up their phone. But we know that's not usually the reality of the situation. And I think it's been amazing to watch your journey as you've been hyper consistent across the board. And that kind of commitment to the process has yielded some incredible results. So, let's talk about some of the platforms that you've been able to use and why you chose those certain platforms.
Yeah, so I've chosen, I'm very consistent on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. But really, when I joined, our group, one of the big things I wanted to do was get onto YouTube. Video content was high on the list for me. Mostly just because it's so relatable and there wasn't a lot of people doing it. There's still not really a lot of real estate agents who are willing to get in front of a camera themselves. And, I had to break out. I wanted people to get to know me, to, at least relate to me a little bit and not just see, some image that I was projecting. So one of the first things I remember you actually said was, if you're not willing to do it forever, don't do any, and just really commit to that process. So that was an important part. I look back at some of the first videos I did, and they're pretty rough. But the more you do it, the more you get comfortable doing it. And not only has kind of got me to this point where I'm out and about, and the guy stocking shelves at Hannaford, the grocery store, is saying, "Hey, I've seen you on YouTube. I'm watching your videos." But it's actually helped me grow as an agent, because as I'm putting out local information, putting out market data, talking about local businesses and things like that, it's helped me gain and learn such a market knowledge that when I'm out there with clients, I'm actually providing a much higher level service, because I just know the market inside and out based on that giving of information in the video content.
Yeah, I love that you say that, because a lot of people are just looking for the tangible results that content will provide you, but not the intangible growth as a communicator, which is the #1 skill we need in real estate. And just as a person, in terms of the knowledge that you have of these markets. And, if we look at all the people in our group that are thriving with YouTube, they are all the true industry experts. They're not just saying that, but in order to put out value-driven content that's 8, 10, 12 minutes long, you have to know what you're talking about. And you learn a lot. And I think that's a cool part of the journey that not a lot of many people really think about. So, you've taken a really cool approach with YouTube as well, which is, kind of focusing on local businesses and things like that. So why don't we unpack some of the videos that you've been able to do that have yielded this kind of local brand awareness, where now people in the general public are recognizing you out and about?
Yeah, obviously you're going to put out your market updates. You want to, keep people abreast, because that's where some of that value is, also just that local market data. But some of my most popular videos were videos I did on local businesses. I've done, what we call, community spotlight or local spotlight, where I'll go into a business, interview the proprietor, showcase the business, almost like making a commercial for them. Those have worked out really well because obviously the business wants to share that information, because it's to their benefit to do so. You get to post it in all the community groups, different community pages on Facebook. So even though they're YouTube videos, and I want to point this out, I'm also uploading them natively to Facebook. And in my rural market, there's still a lot more people on Facebook than there are on YouTube, believe it or not. And it really gets out into the community, to the point where now, this year, I am already starting to schedule out. I've had businesses start to reach out to me a little bit to say, "Hey, we liked this video. We heard from this business. They got some customers the next day, or, within that time period. Would you come partner with us and do a video on us?" The other thing is local community tours, like neighborhood tours, where I'm just going out into the community and not only showcasing what different areas of the city look like, but talking about, what is the sales history in this neighborhood? What are the houses like here? What styles, when were they built? What are they selling for? And those have been phenomenal, not only for the local people, but also those are the ones where people who are looking to move to our area get to look at those videos and get a real taste for what the community is like.
Yeah, that's super powerful. And I think it unpacks something that not a lot of people think about, which is there's 3 types of media. There's paid media, there's free or organic media. So you've got paid ads, you've got free or organic content, but what not a lot of people think about is earned media, which is exactly what you're doing, which is leveraging other people's audiences in order to gain traffic to yours. And I think that's a really great way where a lot of agents are looking at building that local awareness, but they focus only on themselves. And the more you give, the more you receive. And when you can give back to these businesses, that means a big deal to them, because to them, creating content, creating a video is usually a headache. It's expensive. They don't want to do it, but they know they need to do it. So when you can alleviate that effort by doing it yourself, that's incredible. Are there specific, there's a lot I want to unpack in what you just dove into, but are there specific types of businesses that you've been kind of interviewing, and is there a certain approach you take in terms of what you're actually highlighting with that business?
Not really. I would say, I mean, I am looking for, much, smaller locally owned businesses, where these are places where the owners and operators live in our community or around the community. They're relying on that local traffic and they're competing with some big names. Like I recently did one on a place called Emery's Meats. It's a small family-owned meat market that sells really great products. And one of the things that came out of that video actually was not only did they get customers coming in saying, hey, I saw this video on Facebook. I didn't know even you guys were even here. But I even learned just how much of the higher quality products that they were putting out. I've deepened my friendships with them in some of these businesses. And the ones we have lined up for the upcoming year are going to be super fun. And some of these are, we have one where these folks change location and not a lot of people know about the new location. We're going to highlight that as part of the video. So it can also be part of a problem solving for them as well.
Yeah, that's incredible. And I think, again, it all boils down to relationships. And it's such a value-driven way to establish relationships with people that have a core audience that you might have never tapped into. So those highlights are incredible. And I love that you're consistent with that. The community tours too. I think that's a really powerful one, especially for relocation, whether it be internal or external relocation. But this is one that I think a lot of people need to dive into. Maybe we can unpack this a little bit, because we even have a guy in our group that made a commitment to do a community tour of every single community in his entire market, 178, and I think he's got 30 left. But that commitment to the process, and again, being able to paint the picture as to what it's like to be there, is so powerful, because, we talk about this a lot. A lot of people now have transitioned from wanting to, read a blog about what it's like to be in a certain community to actually being able to see it and feel it and make it more tangible. So, what's been your approach to the community tours that you've done? Have you selected ones based on areas you farm? And, maybe dive into some of the information you share on that.
Yeah, being a small city like Waterville is, I'm really just trying to give a flavor of the entire city. And, I've done high-end neighborhoods. I've done, some of the most affordable neighborhoods that we have. And one thing I want to say too, it doesn't have to be super complicated. Honestly, a lot of times I'm out with a microphone and my dad has my iPhone, on a on the stick, basically filming me, and we're using iMovie. So this isn't, what I want to stress is you don't need to spend tons of money and have super high production to create some kind of quality content. And I think the community tours are some of the easiest way to do that. The big thing is you just want to actually learn about the area before you go there. Go into the tax records, look at what's online, look at, the history of that neighborhood, what has happened there historically, what are the values, where have the historical sales been. So when you're speaking about it, you come out being very authentic and natural, that about the area, because it's really going to serve you later too, because then when you're working with actual clients who want to look at that area, you can actually knowledgeably tell them about it.
100%. And I think, that's a perfect segue before we go onto Facebook into, where I wanted to go with this, is the simplicity and not using complication as a roadblock to taking action. And I think we see this a lot in the space where people are thinking they need the sexy camera and a local video crew with these crazy gimbals and multiple things going on in order to actually get out and record. And what you'll see, like with yourself and, genuinely anybody else that I've had on the channel, they are all using very simple elementary tools, and that's allowing them to create content more efficiently, cleaner, simple, and stay consistent with it, because it's not this big theatrical production with multiple moving parts and a logistical nightmare. It's just very simple. And I think, one of my good friends is a master of scaling and helps, realtors scale to their 8 figures. And what they were telling me is that, scaling is in the simplicity, right? When you try and complicate it, you can't scale because there's too many moving parts that distract you from the growth. So why don't we kind of bring that full circle in terms of YouTube as to, what does your full content creation process look like in terms of, how often are you going out and recording? Is there a certain, time you go out and record? Are you batching your content? And what does it look like kind of from recording to editing to publishing?
Sure. So for the video content, when I first started, I remember you actually saying, done is better than none. So I just started going out and I was kind of recording each video as I was doing it. Now, if I put out a couple of videos a week, I will try to get them, I'll try to on Monday, set aside a little bit of time on Monday. It doesn't take very long if you plan your content ahead. I just kind of make notes as I think of them of upcoming videos and information I want to do. So when the time comes to shoot them, I can kind of pop on the camera, take 20 minutes, snap out a couple of videos, depending on how long each of them are. And then I'll just pop them into iMovie. And at first, I'll be honest, when I started, it was taking me at least an hour or maybe hour and a half to edit, an 8 to 10 minute video. It might take about 15 minutes now. It's almost the timing of the video and just going through and getting that cleaned up, because you do get good pretty fast. I do take a lot of photos. I can't say I batch those all the time, because some of them are personal photos, which has been super important to the personal brand, actually, is opening up that kind of outlet to bring my personal life into it and open up to the audience quite a bit. So video content doesn't take very long. You can definitely batch it. When it comes to community tours or the business interviews, those, again, they're super easy. Those get scheduled a little bit more haphazardly, because it has to, we look at weather or what's going to work for that particular business owner. But even then, you go in, it just, as long as you have a plan, it doesn't take very long. It could take, 20, 30 minutes to get in and out of a business, and you get this beautiful, 5-minute, essentially produced commercial for that business, and where people can learn quite a bit about it. So it doesn't have to be super complicated.
Of course. And I think that's what's allowed you to be so consistent. And I really, really love that you talked about the fact that, because I resonate with this so much, which is that it used to take you an extraordinary amount of time to edit one video. And then now it's to the point where it's become, second nature through the repetitions and the volume, to the point where it doesn't take that long. And I did the same thing. And I think that scares a lot of people from taking action, because, when I really started taking videos seriously in about 2019, putting out the 3 videos a week, I was like, how the heck can you scale this? Because it's taking so much time to edit. But what people don't realize is that that's because your communication skills haven't developed yet, to the point where you've got all the ums and the ahs, and you have to repeat and re-record. But now it takes not much time, because you develop those skills in order to deliver a pretty clean video in a couple of takes. And a lot of people kind of stop before they even start to build that momentum in terms of the interpersonal skills that will help them with that. So I love that you kind of touched on that. And I definitely want to wrap this video up with the personal branding. But first, kind of before going through that, I would really like to touch on Facebook, because you said something very, very important, which a lot of people ask, which is natively uploading your videos to Facebook. Because a lot of people think if they're going to be doing YouTube, you just share the link and then that's where it goes. And a lot of people fail to forget that there is still a significant demographic on the upper end that is far more active on Facebook than almost any other social platform. So why don't you unpack a little bit about your strategy on Facebook and what that has done for your business as well?
Yeah, when I first started, I would upload every video to YouTube, and then I would natively upload them to Facebook. And I remember a couple of times I was in a hurry and I did that. I just dropped that YouTube link instead of uploading it, and they were just dead posts, to be honest with you. And through those videos, we were actually, my father and I were going through a neighborhood just a couple of months ago, walking through. We were just wrapping up one of the community tours, and there was a woman on her front steps. And she said, "Hey, you're that video realtor guy that's on Facebook." And I said, "Yeah." She says, "Yeah, I follow you on Facebook. I watch the videos." And it really just hit me that there is a lot of value of putting video right on Facebook. Even like sometimes that I'll do stuff like where I might do a short form video that references the full YouTube video, and I'll say in it, I'm going to drop that link below, and those, but I try to coordinate it so that it's relevant. It might be a summary of what that video is, but no matter what you're doing, it's just super, super important on any platform to get that video up native. So when it comes up on someone's screen, it's taking up the amount of room it needs to take up on their screen. and it's automatically starting to play so they can really see you. Because even if they watch a few minutes, they're going to get a flavor of who you are. And the next time they might watch a little bit longer because you're going to be that much more recognizable rather than some link that was, amongst 100 other links.
Yeah, 100%. And, when you look at the people that are coming to you through Facebook and YouTube, what has been your process of actually getting appointments booked? Because a lot of people are very curious of, okay, people are watching the videos, but how, when, where are they going to reach out? How do I actually get them to an appointment? So what has that process been like for you in terms of, when people are watching your content, are they primarily calling you, emailing you, booking into Calendly? Are they DMing you? What's that journey look like from an actual view to conversion?
Yeah, well, I know we have, some people we partner with that get all their leads come from one particular source. I would say just like the progression of my career, just like the progression of my brand, it's been this really kind of open, organic process where people will watch videos they could watch them for 9 months. And then all of a sudden I get a call or I bump into somebody in the grocery store and they're like, hey, I was watching your video. I meant to reach out to you. Can we get together and connect? I have had some people come right through by messaging my Facebook page, through watching the videos. Or the other thing I've had is you put out a very personal post. And this is where I just encourage people not to hold back and to be open about sharing your journey, your experience. I had one post I did where it was actually a client that I worked with, and instead of just saying like, oh, here's sold, it was a picture of the client and myself. And I kind of explained this kind of journey that the two of us, went on together that I believe it was for estate, is this person's family estate. And the next day, someone who had seen that post called and said, hey, listen, my mother just passed away. I saw your post and, are you able to help me with this? So I think just being authentic and keeping it consistent, because at the end of the day, we know people are going to transact in real estate with whoever's top of mind. And it might not be that immediate fix, like, oh, I just saw Nick on Facebook, so I'm going to call him today. But it's just that consistency, that personality that can show through so that when those times come, you're already on their mind because you've been putting out the value and being very open and honest and likable.
100%, man. And I think, what that boils down to is, again, talking about relationships and tapping into the emotional side of the journey, because it's all about connecting with people at the end of the day. And it's, what video allows you to do is essentially create relationships at scale. And, one of the things that I think a lot of agents struggle with is they take a very selfish approach to the promotion of their work, whereas you've taken a very selfless approach, where selfish is more so, here's just the property I sold, look at me, look at this, here's the volume, here's that. Whereas you've taken the approach on the emotional level, which hits a lot deeper and connects quicker, which is, here's my client, but here's their story. Here's, here's the journey we've been on together. And the more you do that, the more other types of people are going to see themselves in working with you, because they see themselves in your client, whether they be a dog owner, a veteran, an estate owner, like anything like that is what really connects with people. Because ultimately people are going to work with the agent that they see themselves in. And I think that's what you've done really well. And I think that's kind of the perfect segue to one of the last kind of touching points that we can dive into, which is kind of Instagram and personal brand, because I think your personal brand has really grown through some of the content that you've authentically shared on Instagram. So let's kind of talk about how you've approached the third platform, Instagram, in order to kind of build that brand and maybe create a bit more relatability with your general market.
Yeah, that's a great point. And it's really changed. It's morphed over the last, 6 to 9 months, even more than I would have expected. When I first came in, personal branding, and I think it's like this for a lot of people, it was more about the logo, the colors, what does my banner and profile pic look like? And that was somehow, if that was consistent, that was going to build a brand. And what I realized over time, because I'm actually in the process this year, that's all going to be changing. is that the brand is you, and the brand is your story. And the more and more I've allowed kind of my personal journey to come out, not just posting about the work in real estate, but also, sharing about, a time where maybe I hit a super low point in life and how one person reached out and really touched me, and just kind of making yourself a little bit more vulnerable, sharing some of your family events, so it doesn't have to necessarily be sad or super emotional. It can be family birthday parties, but just, being yourself. And the more authentic you are, and the more you kind of open up and realize, I don't have to be, this guy in the suit that was in the profile pic that I don't actually relate to anymore.
Yeah.
And just being who you are and putting that out there and letting them in, people will allow you in to their lives. You become kind of almost like this, outside family member in a sense, if there's a better way to say it. But that for me has been, it's been a neat journey, Mike, because not only have I allowed the process to change me. I mean, I'm not even the same person I was a year ago. And so as you progress, just let the brand continue to grow as you grow. And if you project that out there, people have stopped me in the grocery store and said, hey, I really love, some of your posts. It's really, I can tell it's from the heart. And when somebody's saying that to you at the grocery store while you're, looking at boxes of macaroni, it doesn't really get better than that. So it obviously is going to help your business because you're top of mind if they're thinking of those posts already. But it's going to help you in the journey. It's going to help, ultimately your clients make that connection with you. And then when you start working with these people, you're going to allow yourself to be much more open because you've already allowed yourself to be open in a very public manner. So you can, I find when I actually work with a client one-on-one, I'm much more open, much more vulnerable. Those relationships become much stronger since I've kind of been on this journey.
I think that's, so powerful because a lot of people, when they're looking to, start their personal brand, they think it's static. It's almost like the thought of, I need to have this perfect day one, and that it can't change and that it won't change. And if I don't have it perfect, I'm not even starting. But, you and I have jammed out about this, which is like,
Yeah.
I reinvent my personal brand every single year. I change all my banners. I change because, even on my YouTube channel, my previous banner was me in a suit at one of my $1 million listings that I had. Well, I don't do that anymore. And that's not me anymore. And again, it's one of these things where I never even knew I would be who I am right now 5 years ago when I got started. So how could I even have the perfect personal brand if you don't even know who you're going to become? And I think the really cool part, and I relate to this too, and I love that you do this, is taking people on that journey with you. And the only way you can do that is by being authentic and showing the personal side of things. And it's the easiest content to create because it's genuine, it's authentic to you, and you're not trying to be some different version of another agent that's crushed it in your market. That's very difficult to scale content because you're not even being yourself. You're trying to be somebody else. But when you're just being you, it's pretty easy to stay consistent because it's natural. So I love that you've done that. And I think, we'll kind of pull things full circle here as we kind of come to a wrap, which is, you've got Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. What is your recommendation for people that are just getting started, or maybe like you, maybe didn't have the first year that they were looking for and want to have that growth trajectory that is steady and consistent going forward? What would your words of advice be for an agent that's maybe you a couple of years ago?
I would just say, don't overcomplicate things. Look at, what platforms you're going to be the most comfortable on. You don't have to be on 6 different platforms. Pick one, pick 2, and just be very consistent, be very authentic. But I would also say, be sure that you're getting yourself on video. It's going to feel uncomfortable at first. We can all look back at our first videos and be like, oh man, I can't believe that's still out there. But the more you do it, the more comfortable you get. And it is ultimately how people relate to you. I've had people outside my market reach out to me who've seen my videos. And so no matter what you do, keep it simple. But I would also say, just take action. Just step out and be authentic, and don't look for perfection. If you look for perfection, you're never going to start, and it probably won't be authentic. It'll probably come across as fake anyway if you're trying to get everything just perfect. Just go out and get started, be yourself, and you know what? You're going to attract to yourself the kind of people you're going to want to work with anyway. So it actually acts as a filter for a lot of people you might not want to work with. So, so that would be, I guess, my best advice.
100%. And again, that's such a great point to talk about, which is, the more authentic you are, you do attract the type of people that you are. So if you're not yourself on social, you attract people that will almost immediately have a disconnect to who you actually are, which always creates these difficult relationships with working with clients. And when people say they have bad clients, it's, the type of person that they're attracting. So, now kind of bringing this full circle, Nick, people have the incredible opportunity to partner with you and to be able to get mentorship from you and be able to, again, have your support and guidance as well as mine in order to achieve similar results that you've had. So, maybe let's kind of wrap this up with why you decided to partner with the Wolfpack, and more importantly, what it's like to partner with you and how you're going to be able to help people take their business to the next level.
Sure. I mean, I can say there's probably no greater fan of the Wolfpack than me. It's absolutely changed my life more than I ever thought it would. We're a group of business partners who are all over the US, Canada, and now way beyond. And I've never been, on a Zoom call or reached out to another member and not felt like I'm just instantly connected. I've never been part of a group that's looking for the mutual success of everybody, which is the whole purpose. I think when you started this group was that a pack runs together. It's not just a tagline. And, anyone that works with me, I'm a super open person. Even people who aren't partnered with me in my market, but might be struggling, if they reach out, I believe that's, what's good for the industry is actually what's good for all of us. So I want to certainly help. I will always pour my time into anyone that wants to partner with me. And, the biggest thing is just helping you find what's going to work for you, because exactly what I do might not be exactly what works for you. And I think, going back to just the Wolfpack in general, because it's such a large group, because there's so many resources. I mean, there's so many resources that, I don't think I've even scratched the surface, Mike, even after 2 years. There's something for everybody's personality. And there's just a lot of love, guidance, and support here to make sure that you're going to feel like you're supported and that you're part of this group and that we're going to be all rising together.
100%. And rising tides lifts all ships. And again, it means the world to me to hear those words. And I think that's, one of the things that we've tried to embody, and what you've been the perfect embodiment of, is creating an inclusive community where it doesn't matter where you're from, what stage you're at, who your sponsor is. It's just building this intimate, collaborative culture of people that all want to win and share their best information. So, I genuinely couldn't be more proud of what you've done, and to see how you have just grown and developed into this incredible role model to so many people in the industry by just consistently executing. So any final words, Nick, for the people that are now thankfully going to start following you and staying tuned to your journey?
I just want to say, thank you, Mike, for having me on. For everybody who watched the video, thank you. But, really just always remember, believe in yourself. There's so much greatness and power within each and every one of you. All you have to do is just kind of open up and let it shine out, and you're going to do okay.
I love it. Well, thank you again, man. It means the world to me. And again, guys, I'm going to make sure to link all of Nick's platforms below in the description and the pinned comment. Make sure you check it out, follow along with his journey, and again, reach out to talk about what it's like to partner with him. So thanks so much for tuning in. As always, guys, please make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and we will see you in the next video.